amazing art. But he was talking about some mental health stuff on his Instagram, and I really enjoyed that. And I was at a comic shop here in Chattanooga, and I was looking at this Hulk piece, this brilliant Hulk painting, and I asked them who the artist behind the Hulk painting was, and they told me that it was Brian Silverbacks. I was like, oh shit, okay, I've seen him before on IG. And anyways, I it's a brilliant painting, but he does so many brilliant paintings. I wanted to get him on here to talk to him about all of this and so much more. But let me stop blabbing and get him out here. Y'all help me welcome Brian Silverbacks to the live stream. What's going on,
What's up,
Brian?
man? Like, I'm surprised you can fit my head into the whole frame now that you've all gassed me up and everything.
Well, man, that's how I discovered you, dude. I had found you on IG and looked at a little bit of your artwork, and then I just happened to be in a comic book shop across town that I don't normally go into. And
Yeah.
like they had this huge, massive, it was a massive painting of the Incredible Hulk.
It's
and
not
it was
even
like
really a painting.
Oh, it's not a painting?
Well, here's the way those were constructed, because I did like 4 or 5 of these things. At that
Okay.
time, when I did those, I had not discovered watercolors at the time, so it was just me doing comic book covers. But I kept doing shows, and I realized that some of these people have these large paintings, and they're getting like $500, $700 of painting this picture of Yoda, and I'm like, yo, I can do shit big, but I was
Yeah.
only I could only illustrate, this big, and I wasn't a skilled painter, so I couldn't just get a canvas and paint it. So
Okay.
what I did was I came up with this idea of, what if I made like a 3D layers. So if you get up close, like, it's stacked layers, like it's got depth to it. So and it's
Oh,
all just cut
okay.
up pieces of paper. So I painted these pieces of
Wow.
paper, and I put them in like dark green, light green, gray, black, and I just had these stacks of cut up pieces of paper, and I just assembled them. Where I thought it would be shaded, I'd use a darker piece of green paper, and where I
That's
thought it
even
needed it.
cooler.
So that was how I did those, and I just it cost me a lot of money to have those framed and to carry them around with me to shows. And it
Yeah.
just wasn't cost effective for me to do things that way. So I only did a couple of those.
Well, it's just they have it where they have it set up in the very like on the sidewall in the store, and they got it
Yeah.
like a centerpiece. It's up
Oh,
high.
I've been
And it's
there.
like,
Yeah, I know where it is.
yeah, it's like the centerpiece to the wall that it's on, and it's a brilliant
Part
piece,
of that
man. But
part of that is because Adam Tatum used to work at that store, and
mhm.
Adam Tatum was a humongous Incredible Hulk fan, and so we had bartered some, like, you do this for me, I do this for you, and
Okay.
that's how that Hulk ended up there, is because Adam liked the Hulk, and I had done some bartering with this store.
Very cool. Very cool. But yeah, that's how I found you though, besides seeing your stuff on IG. But I don't know, man. Your artwork was amazing to me, and you do comic books. Super
But it still is.
obviously.
Let's not use it in past tense. Yeah, your artwork was amazing. Nah, bullshit. My art is
Is
amazing.
is
Use it in the
absolutely.
present tense.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely, because you're still popping off of stuff all the time. You're dropping new pieces all the time. Um, but I don't know. I was referring to past tense because, like,
No, dude, I'm messing
when
with you.
I know, but I found interesting about you was you're so willing to talk about your life and be upfront about how you're feeling, and not just with your artwork, but with your own emotions and in your own life. And I found it very
Yeah. Well,
refreshing.
it's weird, man. Like, I don't. So a lot in my life has changed in the past like 3 years. There's been a divorce. There's been me thinking that I was falling in love with somebody else, and then that just got swept up, ripped out from underneath me.
Hmm.
And then there was like a period of time for about a year where there was nobody, and it was just like an echo chamber, and it just so a lot of things changed, and so I don't know if where I am now is a direct result of me just figuring out how to process things properly, or the
Yeah.
steps that I've taken. But whatever it is, like, all that shit is working together. and I am magical. But so to get to your point though, the reason I share, so I don't like, I treat social media like it's my friend, like my friend Jack. So if I would tell
Yep.
my friend Jack what's going on with me, then I'll pretend that me posting it on social media is I'm telling my friend Jack. And so I'm not putting it out there to answer everybody's, what are you doing, and all that bullshit. Here, I put stuff out there because it's
Yeah.
real.
Yeah.
Somebody else may feel this way, and
Yeah.
for some
Of course.
reason, some people may think that I'm super cool, and they want, like, I don't want to downplay it, but there's some people that say, Brian, you inspire me, or Brian, you do these things for me. And the fact that I know there is at least one person looking at my social media, admiring and being inspired by what I do. I know there's at least one person.
Absolutely. Of
And
course.
so if I can put out anything that is 100% honest, and that can help that one person, that one,
Mhm.
then I've done my job. So because I don't need it anymore. The education that I have, however I process things or however I feel, I've already used it. So now I can pass it on. Like it's like, if you're going to donate something to Goodwill, it's not because you still need it. Like I've already taken the information out of it that I want. Now give
Yeah.
it to somebody else and let them use it. Like I don't need it anymore. I don't have to hoard it. I don't have to just collect it all. You know what I mean? So I
Right.
do it for that reason. And a while ago, I started posting just random, not random, but very specific. I feel this way because this, and this happens. And here's how I'm doing it.
Mhm.
And when I post that, it's not for the however many people that are following me. It's not for all of them. It's for the one person that reads that, and that does something and makes them feel better. It lets them feel heard. Like it's for that one person. I don't give a shit what the other, 100 people or whatever that put, like, it's not for them. So whatever I post isn't for every one of the people that follow me on social media. It's for the one person that is positively affected by it. That's who the fuck that was for. And if it's not for you, scroll on.
Right. Right. I dig it, man. I like it. And I like the message. And like I said, I was that one person. I was one of the people that could relate to what you were saying, man. Because like I was telling you backstage, I'm a recovering addict. I'm 4 years clean now.
Mhm.
I do smoke
Congratulations.
weed. Yeah, man. It's kind of my own form of. I do smoke weed. I will say I do that. But other than that, I don't do anything else. Haven't done anything else in years, and just try to live a better life.
Yeah.
And I've had my life fall apart and have to pick up the pieces and have to start completely over again, on my own with somebody else, just every scenario you could think of. So I know that I could completely relate to it, and I'm
Yeah.
sure a lot of other people could
So
too.
I was at my girlfriend's house like 2 nights ago, and we were watching a movie. And I just realized, like, I was looking at her, and I was just like, a smile popped on my face, and I was like, you know what? Right now, I want you to think of all the bad shit that has happened in your life, things that have
Hmm.
broken you down, things that have just made you pissed off, things that have just so been a negative force in your life,
Hmm.
and think that you've made it out the other side already. But if it hadn't have been for all of that bad shit that happened to you, that you were like, why me? Or whatever else you tell yourself during that, if it wasn't for all that, you would not be right here with me right now enjoying this movie. And you would not be able to give me a kiss while we're watching this movie if it wasn't for all of that bad shit.
Right.
But you can't see it at the time. You can't see it while it's happening in real time. And
No, you can't.
it's not always great. Sometimes it's really painful shit. But
Yeah.
if it, everything you've done in your life brings you to this moment right now in your existence, And if you are happy, then just know that everything else behind you is what got you to this moment of happiness. There's no other way that shit could have panned out the way it did.
Right. Yeah.
So if you find yourself and you're like, you know what? I'm having a great fucking day. I just got this raise. My girlfriend's doing this. My boyfriend's doing this. And I got a check in the mail, coming from something. And you're just on top of the world. You could not be there if it wasn't for all of that bullshit that you've been through. You would not be there in that moment to be able to appreciate it the way you do, or for anything like so. It's if you look at stuff like that, it helps you not. It helps it not matter when bad shit's happening to you. I mean,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to get through it. There's no other way.
And you do get through it, and you have to have the dark times to appreciate the good ones for sure. And how, as an artist, man, how much of this fuels your work? Like, how much of this, how much of it
Man,
fuels your artwork?
like I could be cheesy. I could be cheesy and be like, "Oh man, it's so inspirational." It's like I don't
No, be
think
for
any
real
of
with
that.
me.
Like, so my illustration work it's just a job. Like me drawing the cover for Creep Show, or me drawing the whatever I'm drawing for the comic book stuff is
Yeah.
work.
Okay.
I'm good at it. I have fun doing it, but it
Yeah.
doesn't feel like it's there. There's my soul isn't in that. Like it's not like, oh, this is my passion project.
What
Every
is
piece
your
I
passion
do
project?
has it. Like it's not that when it comes to the illustration.
Okay.
Now, the thing that I enjoy about the illustration is I do get to listen to my music, and that feels good to me while I'm drawing. So maybe there might be a little bit of that thrown in there. I don't know. But
What do you
when I do my
what are you
watercolor
listening to?
stuff, huh?
What are you listening to?
Oh, dude, it is so random. So random.
Sorry, man. I'm not trying to sidetrack you. That's my
No, no,
bad.
no. I mean, I can get into it, but I mean, so I'll listen to anything like it'll be some ICP, and then it'll be some Lana Del Rey, and then there'll be some like Katy Perry, and then there'll be some Stained, and then there'll be some Linkin Park, and then there'll be some NWA. Like it's
Whatever.
everything.
Nice. Nice.
But so now let's take this whole question type thing. Nacho, move, buddy. So let's take this whole question thing and put it onto the watercolor.
Okay.
Now, when I do my whoop whoop. So,
Yeah.
Violent J's got a new album coming out, and I just listened to the thing on Instagram today. But so when I do the watercolor, I love that so much that if I could do that and only do that, I would. It is so I have so much fun with it, and I love I love the way it feels while I'm doing it. I love the reaction that I get to it.
You're
I need
stunning.
Yeah, I've been trying to get to Astronomicon for a while, but I'm not cool enough to have as a guest, and I can't fly up there on my own. Oh, dude,
Boo.
I got a Hatchet Man tattoo on the back of my leg. You can't see it, man.
Uh-oh.
See? Like right there.
Uh-oh. There you
But
go. There you
so
go, K-pop.
So watercolor is my jam. It feels really good, and it for me, I'm not good at doing like A, I'm not very good at painting. B, I'm not very good at realistic looking stuff. Is by having this messy style that you can be more free with.
Okay.
You can be really free. I've actually worked with Dirk. I did some work with Twisted Haunted Hions,
Mhm.
and I did an insert for his Tony Schiavone Butts and Seats book. I did a insert page for that book. But so the sloppiness, the messy nature in which my watercolor is done, it gives it its own style without having to. It doesn't have to be exactly perfect. It can
Okay.
be flawed,
Uh-huh.
and in the context of the piece, that's just where it's supposed to be. You know what I mean? Like it feels good because it's not refined, because it
Yeah.
doesn't look exactly like the picture on the internet, because it's my version and then like sloppy, but you're like, it still looks, not my words, but it still looks beautiful. It still looks like, oh
They're
my God,
gorgeous,
that's
man.
it's amazing. I love your work. And it's not because the work is great. It doesn't look just like a flower. It doesn't look just like the leopard gecko. It looks close, but there's so much personality. There's so much uh there's so much for people to grab onto than just something that looks uh like a regular picture of whatever it's supposed to be. So that watercolor is where I have the most fun.
Okay. So that's where your passion is. That's what you have fun doing. It's the watercolor stuff. It's
Yeah, but don't get me
beautiful, man.
wrong,
It really
I
is.
really enjoy acting too.
Now, I wanted to talk to you about that. What have you done anything that we would be familiar with?
No,
Like,
not yet. Um,
not yet.
well, when I started when I because I live right outside of Atlanta, so
Oh,
when I
you're
started,
not far from me, dude. You're like two
I
and a
know.
half hours.
Yeah, in free at Free Comic Book Day. I'm going to be in Dalton, and
Oh,
then
that's not far at all. That's like an
FarleyCon.
hour from
I'm
me.
gonna be at FarleyCon in Chattanooga,
I'll
and
be
then
at
I'm going to be at
FarleyCon.
Chattanooga Comic Con in October. So I'm going to
Yes,
be up there all the time. But
dude, that's so cool.
since I'm in Atlanta, like one day I was just like, you know what? They film all these movies here, so I found ways to become an extra on some of these movies, and I was like,
Awesome.
oh man, I I was a police officer for 7 years. I was in the
What?
U.S. Army for 6 years.
Oh
So
man, thank you for your service. That is
no
awesome.
problem, man. So I
That's so
did those
cool.
things, and
Wow.
when I would apply for these jobs as extras, they would be like military experience wanted, police officer
Yeah,
experience wanted. So I
that
would
makes sense.
apply to those jobs because I know the pool of people would be smaller for them to pick from, and I may
Mm,
find more work. So I did that a couple of times.
what?
So I've been parts of movies that you would have heard of, but as an extra. So when I was doing all this extra stuff, I was like, man, I didn't like the way extras were being treated. And I knew that inside me I had way more creativity and way more passion to be creative than being an extra was allowed. So I
Yeah.
Googled art classes or acting classes near me, and I found an art studio that was giving classes. And so for the next 2 years, I've been taking for 2 years I was taking acting classes.
Oh,
So
cool. Very
now
cool.
that ended probably around January. Hush. So January was about my last class. And then so now for 2024, I'm really trying to seek more professional work that's the next level. So there was a 2 year gap in there while I really didn't do anything, but I
Yeah.
was learning. So now that I think that I've learned enough that I can get started, this is the
You
year
put
I'm getting started.
Very cool. Awesome, man. We got collecting with Durs is saying as a lifelong Spawn fan, he was rooting for you for that challenge. Your Spawn submissions that you did
Yes.
for
Dude,
the Spawn thing.
I felt really strong that one of those would have landed, but I
Dude, they were so good.
and I wasn't mad because there was some bomb ass art. The artwork that was some of the work that was submitted was just crazy awesome.
Yeah.
But uh, it's not that I didn't make it, but I figured at least one of my peers that I had known or seen, like Adam. Ah, fuck, I don't know. Some other people that I know from doing these shows, none of their stuff got in either. And I thought, at least with all of us, one of us, I should recognize at least one name that got one piece picked, and I didn't. And I thought that was I was like, oh man, that's poop.
I didn't recognize any of the names either. Wasn't there some? Well, no,
Yeah,
I'm
there was some
thinking.
AI bullshit.
I was gonna say I almost wanted to bring that up, and I was like, nah, maybe I'm confusing it with something else. But I think there was some AI
There was it,
controversy.
but the AI's in the username. but here's the thing. I don't need, I don't want to put it like I will have a private conversation about how I feel about some of this stuff, but I don't want to put it on because it's going to get lost in context and stuff. But I have an opinion.
Yeah.
I have an opinion about digital artists in general. And I don't know that it's, if someone calls themselves a comic book artist, I should be able to go to a comic book show and you should be able to draw a fucking picture for me and not say, "Oh, I only do computer shit." I just, or like if you're like, "Oh, well, when you draw on the computer, your shit looks really, really, really amazing. And then when you draw in my sketchbook, it looks like a 3-year-old with a crayon." So
Yeah, that's a problem.
so I don't, it's not for me, whatever. I have thoughts. I don't have a particular, like, this isn't based on an experience with one person or anything in particular. And I don't know who does this. It's just me. I just think that there's a disconnect. I don't even want to get into it. It just feels, like
I don't
all
know
I'm going to
either.
do is go, listen to this asshole, blah, blah, blah. Like that's what all the internet's going to do. And I'm just going to be like, and they're going, who's this guy thinking he can blah, 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 blah.
No, that's cool, dude. I'm not trying to get you on a rant, man.
No, that's fine. That's fine. It's me doing it to myself. But I definitely have thoughts and opinions.
I do too.
I would like to be able to put some shit on paper.
Agreed, man. Side quest, what's up? We had some people pop in. We got circumstances. Marcus, what's going on, man? Yeah, CJ would love this. Absolutely. We got April Lee. What's up, April? Welcome.
I do understand. So Robert Smothers right here is saying drawing digitally should easily translate into analog. I get it. It's not going to be a 1-for-1. There are things that you can do in the computer, but there is still a basic drawing skill set that should translate. You may not be as good as the digital stuff that you're doing, but you should be able. So April bought one of my watercolors, one of my lizards. She bought the bearded dragon one.
Nice. Very cool.
And by the way, shout out to I forgot what she calls her stuff. April's thingamabobs or something. But she makes garments and keychains and stuff like that, like nerdy stuff at conventions.
Oh, cool. Cool.
She'll put her name in there.
Yeah, let us know in the comments.
But I try to make sure to mention as many, because if it wasn't for people, like I wouldn't like. So if I see somebody, like I have to do something and say, there it is, talk nerdy to me. That's it. So it's like it's my obligation. Like I wouldn't be able to do this stuff if it wasn't for other people. So the second I see an opportunity to be like, oh yeah, that's my friend, they have a business, boom. They're like I try to do that every time I get a chance.
Yeah, man, that's a good way to be. You got to support each other. Who else is going
I may have dodged a question. I don't know. It feels like did I miss something?
No, I was waiting for April's thing. Here it is. Her site.
No, it's Talk Nerdy to Me, bags and accessories.
Yeah, talknerdy to me bags.com. There you go. Awesome. Okay, well, can I ask you a boring question? And I know it's a boring question. And I know you get asked this every single
watch.
interview.
I'm gonna roll my eyes. I'm gonna get real close so you can watch my eyes roll while you
get ready for the eye roll. What got you started into art?
What got me started? Dude. That's a very.
But I want to know though. I want to know.
You know what? I think it boils down to, like, it starts as a kid. And once the kid realizes they start getting praise, they're like, oh, that feels good. It could be like, hey, you did really good in baseball practice. And then boom, that kid's like, oh shit, everybody said I did good at baseball practice. I feel really good. So I'm going to do more baseball. I'm going to do more baseball. I'm going to do more baseball. Yeah. So I think the fact that, like, maybe one day I just scribble with a crayon and my mom says, oh, Brian, that looks good. And I was like, she said that looks good. And then maybe, like, I don't know that part of it because it goes back to that part of it. Okay. And then, so all the way through high school, like, I was always better than my peers at drawing. Like, I wasn't always great, but I was better than like the average person at whatever age I was.
But it was
So
something
it
you were
got me
always
attention.
into?
Huh?
Was it something you were always into? You just always enjoyed drawing?
Probably not.
Not?
Uh, what happened was what really did it was like in middle school, my dad was going to the bookstore and he was going to go buy like a Silver Surfer comic book.
Okay.
And that's when I picked up X-Men. I was like, oh, what is this? Dad's getting a comic book. I should check out
Ah,
this comic book. So
okay.
it was about middle school when I realized what comic books were and what this was all about. And
Hmm.
then it was me wanting to replicate the cool things that I was seeing, the Wolverine, the Todd McFarlane, the Jim Lee, like it was the Mark Silvestri, like all that stuff. I was just seeing it and I was just wanting to replicate it because it looked so cool. And I had already been told, hey, you can draw kind of good. Not like at this level, but so it is like I saw that in the comic books and I wanted to be like that. I wanted that.
Man, that's awesome, dude. I love hearing stories like that. So,
Well, so now let's okay. Let me give you that. So first off, we're gonna cover the fact that I'm old as shit.
okay.
So
Well, I'm old too, dude.
when I
I'm
graduated
42.
high school, the internet was not the best thing you could hope for was like an AOL chat room when you get your 10 free hours of AOL on a disc. Like that's
Yeah.
about where the internet was.
Yeah.
And
I
and
remember
I
that time.
didn't know what my next step should be to try to continue my artistic journey. So since I didn't make it at the end of high school, there was nothing set up for me. I didn't know what to do, so I just signed up for the army, and then I pretty much just didn't give a shit about. Um, uh, oh, there's Jason Mathis, so that's where I'm going to be for Free Comic Book Day next weekend at the
Ah,
Battlegrounds
sweet.
Comics in Dalton. Um,
Dalton, not far from here, about an hour away from where I'm at. Awesome.
yeah. So
Really cool.
so when I was so when I got to the army, I was like, I guess I'm done drawing because I didn't know what else to do. And then so for about 20 years, I
Mhm.
maybe drew 10 pieces of art in 20 years. Like
Oh,
I just
wow.
stopped drawing.
Just got out of it for a while.
Yeah. And then in 2013, I was a police officer. So now 2013, now the internet, there's YouTube, there's social media, all that stuff's going on. Now, there wasn't there in 94. There's a big gap in technology. So
Yeah.
I worked overnight as a police officer, and another officer came up to me and he showed me this website where they were selling like a fake Daredevil shirt, and it said Daredevil, and it had him naked, and it had like a sensor bar on his wiener, and I was like, oh, that's funny.
Yeah,
And then he
right.
said, hey, this website, like you
Boom.
can send pictures into it, and they can print it on shirts, and anybody can send stuff in.
Mhm.
And I was like, no way, dude. So with that information, I immediately went out and bought myself like a drawing tablet. I started buying drawing software because I was like, I'm just going to go digital. It's the digital age. I don't like the digital stuff. I didn't stick to that. It started to feel real weird, but it got me enough to where I wanted to start doing hand drawing stuff again. you
Cool.
know
Yeah.
so in 2013,
You
that's when
got
I
the ball
started
rolling.
back to drawing. And
Awesome.
I don't even think I was as good as when I left off in 94. Like I had a lot of catching up to do.
Oh,
so
wow.
so in 2013, that's when I really started getting like myself, like, oh man, I can draw again and I
Yeah.
can make money doing this. Let me pay this a little bit more attention.
So where did you go from there with it? Like, is that when you started doing the comic book thing?
Okay, so 2013, I was just getting reintroduced. That's also when I started doing the t-shirt design, and I started
Okay.
making these successful t-shirt designs for these websites, and I was getting like $500, $600. I was like, holy shit. And then people were following me on Instagram and stuff because so I was having a good time for probably like the next 4 years of just doing t-shirt design. And then I was getting more and more active into like Facebook groups and art groups and shit like that. And
Yeah.
that's when I stumbled across like sketch cards. So
I love
like
sketch cards, man. I'm
yeah, but
so big into comic cards, dude. They're awesome.
so that's so during that time period, I also reached out to Upper Deck and said, "Hey, can I do some Marvel cards?" And I reached out to Tops. "Hey, can I do some Star Wars cards?" So I started doing that too. And to me, I was just like, "Oh, I
What?
was unbeatable. I'm fucking awesome." And then
Wow.
I found out that when you go to these conventions, I so for the longest time, I would if I went to a convention, I would see the artists that were there, and I wouldn't recognize the name, but they had their booth up. They had all of this, this drawings, and I'd see some, and I'd be like, "Oh, that guy's good. Oh, I'm better
Yeah.
than that guy." Just in my
Yeah.
head, I'm thinking all this stuff. And then
Yeah.
I ran across a guy named Geoffrey Gwynn, and I really admired his style. And I was like, "So how did you get picked to be here?" I'd always assumed that the shows had like this list of people that they just picked from and like you get a table. And he said,
Yeah.
"Dude, all you got to do is pay your money and you can be here." And that blew my fucking mind, dude. I was like, "Really? It's not that they don't even care if you're good. You just got to pay money." So with that information, and I think I got that information in like 2000, it was a Walker Stalker Con in like 2014
Okay.
uh, in Atlanta. And from that moment, I immediately went to my computer and I just started Googling like all these shows I could think of names. How much does it cost to be an artist alley? And I just started booking myself in all these shows.
Awesome.
And then
Awesome.
so I was like, well, what do I take? Like I got in now, but what do I take? So I
Yeah.
had taken some of my t-shirt designs and just made them into prints. And then that's what I was selling at the table. And then eventually that turned into doing fan art. And then that turned into doing your own characters because you're trying to drawing fan art. And
Okay.
then that let's see, 2018, I think I saw, by the time 2018 came around, I'm already familiar with Kickstarter. I'm
Yeah.
already familiar with independent comic books
Mhm.
and all this stuff that I didn't have the information for. There's April 2016 is when I met her. Wow, that's a long time. But so
10
uh
years ago. Wow.
so where was I? So
You were talking about creating your own characters and stuff.
yeah, and then so I was into I understood Kickstarter, I understood independent comics, self-publishing, indie publishing. I gathered that. And so in 2019 I saw that there was a Kickstarter going on
Mhm.
for and I realized, oh, so let me back up. So I was like, man, I'm fucking good. I need to write to
Hell
Marvel
yeah.
and be like, Marvel, why can't I draw for you? And DC, like I immediately just thought that that's where I was supposed to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
I love
nothing.
that you're truthful about it, man. You're honest about it. I love that.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm not gonna lie. But so I thought I was that good. And so I
Yeah.
kept sending out like I any email address I could find, I'd be like, yo, I draw sketch cards, bitch. Like, look at me. And they you look at it now and they're like sketch cards, man. Fucking
Don't make me
three-year-olds
spit
draw
my drink
sketch
out.
cards. But uh so I never heard back. So I was like, all right, let me start focusing my attention to some independent titles, like characters I had never heard of. Like you got this independent character and this independent character, and this one's by Source Point Press, and this one's
Yeah.
by Scout, and this one's by Caliber. And I was like, I wasn't familiar with any of these people. But I was like,
Okay.
if I'm going to get into comics, I'm probably going to have to do it through doing independent stuff. So I
Some
had
of the
realized
smaller
that I
ones.
wasn't going to shoot right to the top. First off, my skill set wasn't there. All right, so let's not. But that's where I thought I should be. Right, that's where my mind was like, da, 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 I'm ready.
Okay.
So in 2019, I found a Kickstarter that was going on for a comic book called Metal Shark Bro, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh man, I really like that character design.
I like
So
that character.
I
Very cool.
knew that I wanted to get into comic books, and I knew that that character design kind of fit like what I was doing. So I emailed those guys. I was like, "Hey, I don't want any money from you, but what I'd like to do is I would like to draw a cover of your character that you guys can sell and have it, and I will just be able to say that I did a comic book cover for a published comic book,
Okay.
free of charge. Take it, please." And they said, "Hey, man, we love your work." Because I'd sent some samples. They said, "Hey, man, we love your work, but we've already got the allotted number of covers that we're supposed to have. Your work is great. And they could have been lying, but whatever. So it didn't work, right?
Right.
But then their publisher, the guys that published that comic book after the Kickstarter, reached out and said, "Hey, we liked that artwork that you sent. Can we use that for our web store exclusive cover for that
cool.
comic book?"
Cool.
And I was
Okay.
like, "Well, yes, you can."
Hell yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was my first true comic book cover that we got published and all that. And then I kept doing like a couple more web store exclusive for different different comic book properties that they were in charge of. So
Very
I did
cool.
another web store and another web store and another web store. And then I was like, "Hey guys, I'm writing this comic book called Loggerhead." You know, and they're like, "All right, well, when you're done, let us know." So they looked at it. And then then it started being like people started seeing my stuff and they'd be like, "Hey, I got a Kickstarter. Would you draw me a cover? How much would you charge?" And then
Mhm.
so if we're gonna be honest, which is why not be honest,
Yeah, sure.
probably like the first 10 covers that I've ever done in comics, I
Mhm.
did it for free simply for the publicity, just because I knew that uh that I would gain momentum, I would gain visibility, so I would be willing to part with that. All
Yeah.
that to say, let's take a time out.
Okay.
Some people say you should never do anything for free.
Okay.
Like if you're good at something, you should never do it for free. That may be true, but I say to hell with that. You should, if you're good at something, you should never do it for free because somebody asked you to.
Okay.
No one should be able to ask you to do what you do for free. That's unheard of. But I will do it for free of my own volition if I
Mm.
think that I'm going to benefit from it. So
Yeah.
yes, I did that for free, but not because they asked for it for free.
Right.
Because I knew that I thought this was the way to get me where I needed to be, and
Help you
that's how
progress.
much I was willing to put into that venture.
It makes sense.
So when people tell you if you're good at something, don't do it for free, that's okay. Just don't let someone ask you to do it for free because then their intentions aren't right. Their intentions aren't good.
Okay.
You can do it
Got
for free, but make sure you're the one that initiates that. If you get into a conversation, you're like, "Hey, hey, hey, I'll do it for free." And they're like, "All right, I guess so. I mean, I can't turn that down." So just understand that you're, as a creative, like, don't do it for free. Don't let anyone ask you to do it for free.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's how I got
Makes
into, so,
sense.
and then that turned into me getting my own comic book, and then that turned into Image doing stuff for Image covers, and then that
That's
turned into
cool.
me doing stuff for Source Point, and then that turned
All
into me
kinds of
doing stuff for
exclusives.
Judge Dredd magazine, and then uh, it led to me getting nominated for a Ringo Award for Cover Artist of the Year,
Hell
like
yeah.
all that crazy shit. Like so that's the story. I don't know if that's exactly what you wanted, but that is a very timeline efficient way of getting there.
No, that's awesome. That's really cool. And I've seen a lot of really good exclusives that you've done for Epicos, for example. I've seen some good exclusive variants that you've done for them.
Yeah.
And where can people find, if they're interested in checking out or buying some of your stuff? Where can they find it? Where's some of the best spots to check out your artwork?
Probably in person at one of my shows, but I don't get out much, so that's
Yeah.
not gonna do. But so if you follow me on Facebook or Instagram, I do a
Okay.
little bit on Twitter. But if you follow me on any social media and uh, you've seen something that I posted that you'd like to inquire about, like I'm pretty receptive to messaging,
Awesome.
so
Awesome.
I really respond well to messages. Or sometimes I'll just post a new piece and say, "Hey, this piece needs a home," and then but it all takes you back to you can go to silverbacks.com, and there I have a web store there, but it doesn't have like everything I've ever done. Like there's a rotating, like right now there's a couple of watercolor sets in there, and there's
Oh,
some art
cool.
prints, and then
Cool.
in a couple of months I'll put some different ones and take those out. So
So you kind
it's
of
not.
rotating
Yeah,
stuff
because I
around.
found, so to any the Spill Blood cover I did for free because I like Jonathan.
Jonathan Hedrick is the man. We've actually had him on Comic Book Addicts before. He is the man.
I've
He's a
actually
great
slept
writer.
on his couch.
Nice.
But
Nice.
so Oh, what the fuck was I saying?
No, we were talking about your how you were you would rotate out your artwork
Oh
on
yeah.
your site
So
every so
to any
often.
creatives that are out there that want to start their own web store or have all that going on,
Yeah.
I have found that giving the customers too many choices, like if I, because at one point I had like 12 pages, like you can go to my 12-page web store and you can get
Jeez.
this and this and this,
Yeah, that's a
they'll
lot.
shut down. They'll shut down. So any creatives, please, like, just do some so that they don't get, they'll they'll lock up with so many choices. So don't give
Mhm.
them that many choices. And if you do it and then you rotate that frequently, it gives them a reason to come back to your website to see what's
Ah,
new. Or when you write your
okay.
next newsletter, you can say, hey, here's this quarter's artwork that's going to be in my store. You know, check back next quarter and see what we're doing. Like, don't just, I would recommend, I don't know anything. I can only tell you where I've been. And I think that it would be a good suggestion uh, I would think it would be a good suggestion just to rotate your stock and not keep everything on your store so that they don't get there's a word for it, like
Like,
variety vapor lock or some shit. I don't know.
oh, okay. That makes sense though.
But yeah,
I
so
think that
silverbacks.com gets you to most of those places, and then at Brian Silverbacks on any social media will get you to me.
awesome. And then you have a group. You have a group on IG as well, right? Like a fan page?
Uh yeah, what is it? Like a channel, right? Isn't that like on
Yeah, I'm
Instagram you
part
can have a channel?
yeah, yeah. I'm part of a Brian Silverback's art group, I believe.
Dude, the second I get the ability to open up some shit like that, I'll be like, boom, let's go. But so I do have two Instagram accounts. One of them is, what is it? Brian Silverbacks. And then the other one's like artist Brian Silverbacks.
Uh-huh.
And that one is just me posting artwork. It doesn't post any of the depression or any of the personal smiling. Like, here I am with a selfie. Like, it's just the artwork because some
Now,
people may just want to see the artwork. A
right.
broadcast channel. Yeah, that's it.
And that makes sense. And kind of circling back to the talking about the mental health stuff again, man, like you're somebody who also deals with that stuff. And I found it refreshing that you talk about it. I try to talk about it on my channel. But it's cool. It's cool hearing other people tell their story and talk about
Yeah.
what they deal with, man. I thought it was so cool. What do you do to get yourself out of it? When you find yourself in a funk,
I
what
don't
are some
find
things?
myself well. So the first year after my wife and I separate, my ex-wife and I separated, like it was just me in this house by myself. There were no kids, there was nothing.
Hmm.
And I didn't go to work because this is my job. This is where I work. So
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have
Okay.
employees, I didn't have friends. So it was I lived a very lonely life. And that was just getting to be so overwhelming. I'm like, why the fuck am I here? If I like, I don't think anybody would know if I did. I could be dead on the couch, and it would be like 6 days before anybody noticed that. And that to me, that makes me it made me feel unimportant. Like if you can go
Mm.
6 days and nobody would like, that's a long time. So
Yeah.
that was I was like, I just need to stop thinking about shit like that. I need to start trying to be happy. So I made three changes.
Okay.
So I adopted a dog from the animal shelter.
Nice. Nice.
I decided to talk to the VA doctor and start myself on some depression medicine.
Awesome.
And I
Awesome.
started microdosing mushrooms. So
Awesome.
all three of
Okay.
those things, I did those like within 1 month. So I can't tell you which one worked magic, but the
But
combination
something.
of wanting to be better, of wanting to be not depressed, of wanting to be happy, like the combination of that with those three things,
Mm-hmm.
I started to find myself less and less dark.
Yes. That is
There were still
awesome, man.
dark times,
Of
but
course.
I knew that I could wake up tomorrow and try again. Like I
Yeah.
never felt like it was like this endless loop of anything.
Right. That you will get through it. Yeah, of course. Because I mean, we're still gonna have bad times regardless, no matter like what type of life you're living. You're gonna have bad times.
Yeah,
Um,
and also like I also didn't have like a best friend. I didn't have anybody that was checking on me. I
yeah,
didn't have
yeah.
someone to confide in. I didn't.
Yeah,
So
I
that
feel you
was a
there, man. I really
there's
do.
a very big important piece in everybody's life that's missing, whether it's your wife, your husband, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your best friend, your homie from high school, your
Mhm.
brother, whoever that is. Like if there, I think that you have to have at least one person like that, and I
I
didn't
think so.
have that. And so uh that was probably the most difficult thing to just that really like the feeling alone really that made it hurt more because you couldn't share that, and maybe if you had that person you wouldn't have felt as alone. But
Maybe
then
not.
I started dating. I felt like I was to the point now where, all right, maybe I should try dating.
Put yourself out there
And
a little bit.
huh?
Put yourself out there a little bit.
Yeah. Or what I found made me not depressed was just being able to get onto the apps and
Mhm.
scroll through the ladies that were there. For me, it was ladies. I don't know what it is for anybody else, but for me, it
Yeah,
was ladies. And I
I
was
like
scrolling
ladies.
through there and I would read their bio, what they like to do, and things that they're trying to do. And I would read with each of these, and I would have like these little imaginary, like, oh, well, that would be fun. Like, what if that was like, I would start to picture what it would be like to, oh, I can see this with this person. Like, that'd be cool.
Yeah,
And so, in a healthy way, it was just me realize it was me feeling like there is something after this depression. There is something after this single. It may not be with this person that you're imagining as you scroll, but the
right.
fact that I can think about what life would be like with that person and how our things match, like that was fun for me because it made me realize that all right, at some point you're gonna be happy again with another person. And
Mhm.
what if it was this person? And what if it was this person?
Yeah,
But the
you never
idea
know.
of that. So sometimes I would get depressed and I would just open the app, and it wasn't even like I needed to go on a date. It was just me remembering like or thinking about what it may be like when you start dating again or when you have somebody special. And
The
I found that very
possibility.
helpful to get through the some of the lonely stuff.
That's interesting. That's
Yeah.
cool though.
And
Yeah.
I don't know, but it worked, and
Whatever
it
works,
would
man.
feel good.
Whatever works. Whatever
Yeah,
works.
and then you get out to then it turned into like a rich like there's that, and then there's also really going out and talking to somebody more than once.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so
Building
there's people that
connection.
you can meet one time and you'd be like, "All right, well, at least I got out of the house."
Yeah.
And then there's other ones where you're like, "Oh man, this is the third time we're doing something. Like this
Yeah,
is
and you're
cool."
actually
Like
forming a connection with another human
yeah,
being.
and then
Yeah.
then that starts up and then you're like, "All right, cool." And then there was an unexpected for me, like the abrupt like breakup, like after 2 months after being with somebody,
Yeah.
then after 2 months, they're like, "Nope." And it wasn't like there was no infidelity. It was just out of the blue. It was like, uh, boom. No, I don't think I have
Yeah.
time. And I was like, and for me, that 2 months, I was starting to feel like, oh wow, they're like if this is what the rest of my life is gonna be like, I am fucking set. And that I mean, that's how I was feeling on the inside, like that's what I thought I was setting myself up for.
Yeah.
And then to have all the rug pulled out from underneath me, I was just like, holy shit.
Oh.
So then there's a whole new type of depression that I really had never dealt with before, which
Mm.
was this version of depression.
Yeah. Yep.
And then bargaining and being like,
Little
oh,
rejection.
like trying to reach out and trying to stay in their life and they don't want you and like trying to, and you're just, and then, so you start lying to yourself. It was
I
all
think,
that shit.
dude, I think we've all been there. That's tough.
But that was my first time being there.
Woo, man, that's tough. Yeah, that's rough, man.
And so that was new for me. And so that
Mm.
was difficult. But we made it like all that. And here we are,
Here you
right
are.
here in this very moment, having this very conversation. And all that bad shit had to happen so that I could be here.
Yeah, and I'm not a good looking chick or anything, but it could be a lot worse.
It could be a lot worse. You know what? I'm getting on the airplane tomorrow morning with my good looking chick. So there's
Yes,
that.
going on vacation, so you got that
Yeah.
to look
So
forward
that
to,
this
man.
is, and this is new for me too. So this is new for me in a number of ways.
Okay.
So I'm going on a vacation. Like I've never financially been in a position to just go somewhere else for shits and giggles. Like
Just
if
for
I've
fun?
gone somewhere, it was for a show, it was for
Yeah.
an acting gig, it was helping somebody do something. Like that's the only time I was able to leave my normal, was to go do those things. So I've been to Florida before, but
Yeah.
it was to go do this convention. It was to
Yeah,
go
on
support my
business.
buddy's son who's in an MMA fight, and we were down for the week
Mm,
or the
okay.
one night. Like it's those type things. Well, this is excuse me, this is different in multiple ways because she said, well, so first off, my girlfriend is from uh South Florida.
Oh,
So she
cool.
said,
Very
"Hey,
cool.
I'm going back to South Florida. Would you like to come with me?"
Of course.
And I was like, "Are you like that?" But here's the thing though. This is new. I'm being invited. Usually I'm the one that's inviting the female to do things and stuff. And she's like, "I'm going. Do you want to go? I'll be able to show you where I've been living for the past 20 years. I've been showing you where I used to work and where I
Er,
used to go to school and where I used to exercise. And I'll be able to show you all this cool stuff. And you can." So I'm going down there for 4 days, right? To hang
nice.
out with her with no objective. There is no convention. There is no show. There's simply
Awesome.
like, oh, we're going to go look at a lighthouse. Or we're going to go do some kayaking. Like it's an actual vacation. And I can't tell you
That's so
that
cool,
as an
man.
adult that I've ever just been on vacation and not like with just me and one person, or me and just my immediate family, because I had kids, right? So I would
Mhm.
consider a vacation me, my wife, and the kids. Like that would be a vacation. But every other
Mhm.
time, like I have never done this. So how
Wow.
cool is it for me to go down there and not have shit to do? And
Very cool.
she's all about it, and she's the one planning it. And she's like, "Brian, you're gonna love this, and I got this planned, I got that planned." And I'm like, this person really enjoys being around me to the
Yes.
point that they're willing to like show me all of this stuff. And though she did say that you're just going to have to walk by the gators and not pay them any attention. But so for me, and I don't know who this information is for,
Mhm.
but this is all new to me. Having a female that's treating me like wants to be around me. And here she is messaging me right now, talking about, I can't wait for, will you bring the
Oh,
coffee bags? So this is all new.
it's great though, man. That's really cool. I'm
And
very
it
happy for you,
feels
man.
great, man.
Yeah, dude, it's
It's
gotta be a
really
good
good.
feeling. And you're gonna get to learn so much good stuff about her and where she comes from,
Yeah. And she's,
and I
it's
know
a,
you're probably so interested in learning, so it's gonna be cool.
yeah. Well, here's the thing. Like she even, so I recently booked a gig. See, I will bring them. I recently booked an acting gig in Knoxville, right?
Oh, nice.
And
It's about an hour from here.
so well, it's about 3 hours and 25-30 minutes from here.
Okay.
But so I was like, hey, and it was a Tuesday, Wednesday thing. And I was like, hey, do you want to come up there with me? So she road tripped with me. We drove up there, hung out,
It's
stayed in
always
the
better with
hotel
somebody
room.
else.
Then we
Yeah.
went to like the Knoxville Square, and then we came home. I had so much fun.
Dude, that's awesome. I'm glad that you actually have a partner that can go, because it is, man. It's so much more fun with somebody when you're on a cool trip like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
dude.
here's the thing. So we're both very much have this idea now about just being present in the moment, which is not playing
Yeah.
on your phone while you're doing an interview. But but so being present means a lot to me. Like if I'm having dinner with you, like I'm having dinner with you, I'm
Yes.
not
Phones
I'm
down.
not also looking at my phone.
Yes.
Like my phone is either in my pocket or turned away, whatever. Like I want to be so present and let the person I'm there with, whether it's my girlfriend, whether it's Jim the cleaner, whoever I'm there with,
Yep. Agreed.
you have my attention.
I actually have a rule about that when I'm eating. Yeah, I never pick my phone up.
But this isn't just eating. This is like if we're going out and we're doing things, you have I want to be
Yeah.
present, and I
Yeah.
want to explore new things, and I want to find the appreciation for I want to find the appreciation that I've just been overlooking and I just didn't let myself see before.
Yeah.
So
That's
her
an
and I have
important
talked like we're gonna go to like we're gonna plan these little like weekend trips to just random ass places and just be present in Butthole, Alabama, or be present in backwoods, Louisiana. Whatever we're gonna do, like we're just gonna be present.
When you come up, dude, when you come up here in August, there's some really beautiful places around Chattanooga. You could take her to Rock City. Rock City is awesome.
Well, I
if
say
you've never
she's
been.
already been. So she has a
Never mind.
very traveled life prior to me.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So I kind like what I've been trying to do is figure out things that she hadn't already been there, which is still fine. We still want to do that, but we're going to be in Chattanooga quite frequently. It seems
Nice.
like with doing these shows. So she's supposed to be coming up with me if everything is still like who knows where her job and what might be going on, but come
Yeah.
August. So she's set to come up there with me for FarleyCon and for the Chattanooga Comic Con because she didn't
That's
get to go with me to Huntsville because she was starting a new job.
How was Huntsville? Was that fun?
That's always fun. I love the Huntsville Pop Culture Expo. Like I always have fun at that show. It's Jeremy puts on a really great show. There's always great guests, and it's big enough that I think every vendor there makes money. Like I don't like.
That's great.
It's really good.
Man, that's great. Marcus says I'm gonna get to Huntsville one of these years. Me too, man. It's doable for me. I could totally get there. So I definitely want
and
to.
they always have great guests. Like they'll have 2 from this time period and 2 from this category. Like they always have something for everybody.
Dude, I couldn't believe FarleyCon with Jim Shooter and Larry Hama and they got some really big legends coming this year.
Well, Rocky is a big G.I. Joe fan. The guy that puts the show on is a huge G.I. Joe nerd. So he's always looking to like. So one year he had like Sergeant Slaughter come in. He didn't have Sergeant Slaughter, the wrestler, come in. He had Sergeant Slaughter, the guy from G.I. Joe, come in. Like that's who he wanted.
Yeah.
So it's a way for him to like live vicariously through putting on these shows, is bringing in like G.I. Joe voice actors and writers and stuff like that. So that's if anything, he kind of defaults towards wrestling and G.I. Joe. Like that's where if I were to guess.
Gotcha. Yeah, I could see that. Well, speaking of cons and upcoming shows and things like that, what do you have? What do you got coming up in the near future? You're going on vacation, but after that,
so I'm having to leave the vacation early to come back to do Free Comic Book Day.
Free Comic Book Day in Dalton.
Yes, so I'm coming back by myself, and she's staying in Florida.
Okay.
So I'm flying back because I have to do Free Comic Book Day on that Saturday, and then she's going to drive up Sunday.
What was the name of the shop in Dalton that you were going to be at?
Battlegrounds Games and Comics.
Battlegrounds?
Maybe it's the Battlegrounds. But I mean, there's only probably one Battlegrounds in Dalton. It's right there off the highway, right off of 75, pretty much.
Oh, cool. I'm going to check them out for sure. Awesome.
Yeah, and they've got like 7 artists going to be there too.
Damn.
I think Adam Hughes is going to be there. Jason Flowers is going to be there. Greg Watson.
Jason Flowers is awesome. He's a cool guy. Yeah, he's a cool guy.
So there's going to be quite a lot of cool artists there. 9 artists.
Jeez, man, that's a.
And I'm probably like the worst one. So just imagine how cool everybody else is going to be.
Nah, I doubt that. I highly doubt that. Well, dude, man, I really appreciate you coming and hanging out with us this evening. It's been a lot of fun, dude. It really has. I look forward to. I was so excited when I found out you were going to be coming to FarleyCon in August. Hopefully, I can get some pick up some artwork or something from you, dude. Because you're a really cool guy, man. I've enjoyed talking to you.
No problem, man. Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy to finally not stand you up on your show.
Man, it wasn't your fault. It was we both kind of had a communication error.
But you know what? Let's talk about the good part of that though. Is that you're booked so solid that it takes forever for me to get back on because of how much cool shit you have going on. That's how far out you have to schedule things. So that's pretty baller.
We'll just say that. We'll just say that. We'll go with that.
Yeah, drink it in, man. Drink it in. Be present.
Well, dude, man, Brian, you're awesome, dude. Your artwork's awesome. You're a great guy. I really appreciate you coming out. Guys, if you are not following Brian Silverbacks, be sure to go follow him on IG, Facebook, all the social medias. But he is a terrific artist. And once you go over there and check it out, you'll see.
You know what?
Yourself.
I forgot on my website.
Yeah.
I do art tutoring. Like you
Art
can
tutoring?
buy an hour of video. Like we can do this video. So you can buy like an hour and then it'll just be me and whoever you are that bought the hour. And we'll look at your stuff. You open some software. We'll talk tips. We can do portfolio review or just like all that stuff. Like you, so they're not art lessons, but I'm art tutoring. I can help. Can't teach you the basics. Like you need to already have that shit.
Okay, but you can look over and establish.
I just forgot that, but that's one service that I do offer now because I also offer it through superprof.com, which is where you can hire tutors for just about anything.
Cool.
So you can go through them to find me, or you can go directly to my website where they don't get a cut of my money.
Man, so what is it? Super what?
No, just go to silverbacks.com.
Silverbacks.com. There you go.
It's in the shop. Or there's a whole heading for tutoring.
Hell yeah. I think that's cool, man. I haven't seen anybody else doing that, but I think that's awesome. But dude, thank you so much. Thank you guys for watching in the chat, man. I really appreciate you guys that came out and hung out in the chat. You guys were awesome. Let's see. I was trying to think who. Oh yeah, next week we got another artist coming. We got Shop for Comics, community artists, doing all these awesome community sketches and stuff. But we're gonna talk to Shop, and it's gonna be an awesome show. I hope you guys come back next Monday for that. But for now, head on over to Geek Out with Roscoe's channel and hang out for another Between the Lines. I think they're drawing some bees tonight, so that'll be an interesting topic. Bees. So we're drawing bees tonight. But we'll see you guys next week. We'll end it how we always do with some Biggie Shack. Later, guys. Where's my clip? There we go.
I'd say that one is a banger, man. It's a real certified banger, dude.